Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of News Dose, where we give you all of the latest news in the game industry. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, especially the Xbox, and I guess that shouldn't be too surprising considering X019 is right around the corner. It's this Thursday, so leaks and rumors are starting to float around. I was a little bit surprised by this one though, because Obsidian and Ninja Theory may actually be announcing some new games at X019. Also, there was some Goldeneye Remastered leaks, which is from a very legitimate source, and that Bluepoint game that everybody has been getting so hyped up for recently may not be a PlayStation 5 exclusive after all. And we also have a few other things to talk about, so stay tuned for that as well. But let's talk about X019 for a moment, because Rand Al Tor on YouTube released a video about his expectations for X019. And while he did say that he doesn't know much about X019 itself, these are educated guesses. He does have some sources, so it's possible he could be correct. Now, the first one was Ninja Theory, and that he does believe that Ninja Theory will talk about what the Hellblade team has been working on. Now, as many of you know, Ninja Theory also announced a game back at E3, which was Bleeding Edge. And it was kind of met with mixed reactions, and not because it looked bad or anything, but rather, it wasn't really what a lot of people were expecting coming from Ninja Theory after their big hit, Hellblade. I myself do think Bleeding Edge looks really good though, but I like multiplayer games a lot. Bleeding Edge, of course, wasn't the only thing Ninja Theory is working on though, as they do have multiple teams, and we may get to see what else they're working on. We don't really know much beyond that, but if it is coming from the Hellblade team, as the rumor states, then we can probably expect a good single-player experience with incredibly good facial animations. I actually believe that Hellblade is one of the best single-player experiences this generation, so I'm pretty excited to see what they're working on next. Hopefully it will show up at X019. Though this next one I wasn't really expecting at all, and that's because Rand Al Tor said that Obsidian Entertainment will be announcing a brand new game, though it isn't the game that Microsoft purchased Obsidian for. Apparently, Obsidian has around 4 teams working on different games. You have the Outer Worlds team, Pillars of Eternity, the team that is working on something that Microsoft heavily believes in, and now this smaller game that is a survival RPG. Rand Al Tor just kind of said it so matter-of-factly, so I do think that this will appear at X019. Honestly though, I really think Microsoft struck gold here when they acquired Obsidian Entertainment. Not only is the Outer Worlds excellent, which I do believe will be a big Xbox franchise moving forward, but the fact that they are able to make all of these games at the same time is a huge deal, especially considering Microsoft is looking for content to put into Xbox Game Pass. And when you start to piece things together, most of the Xbox studios is like this. We just talked about Ninja Theory working on multiple games, and then you have Obsidian that has like 4 teams apparently. But most of their studios is like this now, where they have multiple teams. As for this survival RPG though, it's hard to make much out of that as of this moment, but Obsidian is one of the best RPG developers in the industry, so I really do trust whatever they do. Now, speaking of Xbox, Bluepoint Games has been teasing a new game for a while now, and about a month ago there was some reports that their next game will be a PlayStation 5 game. That wasn't really all that surprising at the time, considering PlayStation and Bluepoint has partnered up in the past and worked on Shadow of Colossus, the remake, and the two have been linked together in acquisition speculation for a while now. However, due to a recent job listing, it appears as if this new remastered game will be a multi-platform game, and it'll also be coming to Xbox Scarlet. Now, I know this may be upsetting to those who wanted Demon's Souls Remaster because that was the game that most people speculated it would be, but now we can kind of guess as to what else it could possibly be. And one of those games I've been seeing people talk about a lot is Metal Gear Solid. I, however, do not think that that is it. A recent tweet they posted kind of points in the direction of Castlevania, which would be a huge deal. The only thing that makes me question whether this would be a Castlevania remake is they don't really seem to try to be hiding it, and maybe it's just me, but I think teases pointing us in one direction is in actuality going in an entirely different direction than what we may believe. Nonetheless, whatever it is, it does appear to be multi-platform, which is always a good thing, so more people can enjoy it, and Bluepoint Games really is a talented developer. In other news, there was a Goldeneye Remastered leak over the weekend, and if you grew up in the 90s, Goldeneye may be remembered as one of the best first-person shooters to ever exist. I mean, this was a fantastic game back in the 90s, and really ever since then, people have kind of wanted Goldeneye to return. Of course, there was that Wii remaster, but I don't think it was received too well. But apparently about 3 years ago, there was a Goldeneye Remastered leak with 30 minutes of gameplay that just kind of popped up out of nowhere, so we already knew that Goldeneye Remastered did exist somewhere out there. However, a former Rare employee just leaked major information on the Goldeneye Remaster, and that game was actually meant to be in Rare Replay. And they even made a documentary about how Goldeneye came to exist, and it's on YouTube as of this moment, so go check that out right now. And that's the thing, the fact that this exists and is apparently done and ready to be played is demoralizing. This was supposed to be in Rare Replay, which means they had to have met some kind of complication, which was most likely a licensing issue. This could have came from three sides. Back in the 90s, Goldeneye was developed for the Nintendo 64, and Nintendo has some rights to it. And then you also have to consider it is a movie IP, so there's got to be some licensing issues there as well. So with this being an Xbox game, it's probably went through several complications, but we have seen Xbox and Nintendo be all buddy-buddy here in recent years, so let's not give up on this just yet. If hypothetically it's just between Nintendo and Xbox, they could come to some kind of an agreement and release it on both Xbox and the Nintendo Switch. I mean, we've already seen Xbox do that with Ori and the Blind Forest and Cuphead, so I could see it happening with Goldeneye as well. If it, however, is licensing issues with something else, and it's hard to say considering it is a movie franchise, it may be out of both Xbox and Nintendo's hands. Nonetheless, what do you think about all this? Would you like to see a remaster after all these years? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is Hideo Kojima, because he had a very interesting thing to say about Death Stranding and its criticism, and that apparently the United States really enjoys their first-person shooters, and they don't quite understand Death Stranding as it flies higher. This is Hideo Kojima's words, not mine. I'm actually a big fan of Hideo Kojima, and he has made some of my all-time favorite games, but I feel that his ego may be getting a little bit out of hand. You really can't group in an entire country as one, especially considering that the United States likes a wide variety of different genres. And the thing is, Death Stranding is not the first walking simulator, so let's not act like it is. Gone Home, which was also a walking simulator, got great reviews on Metacritic. I've seen several shooter games get poor reviews. I've seen several games with little to no combat also get great reviews. And I've seen people believe Kojima may have been misquoted here due to a translation issue, and that may be possible, but what I do know is that you can't really say that all shooters are well received, when that simply, it's just not true. There may be some other issues with Death Stranding that people had that had nothing to do with it not being a first-person shooter. Maybe you think differently though, so let me know in the comments below and what you think about Death Stranding. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Death Stranding. Anyways though, that is it for this video, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button. Peace out.